War Thunder is a bug-filled mess of a quote-unquote game made by a company that cares more about adding shiny new toys rather than fixing core gameplay issues and mechanics. At least, that's what I would say if I was a fucking moron. That's right, I actually like War Thunder. I enjoy the gameplay, the wide array of vehicles, the mechanics, and even the events. Well, sometimes. Oh god, I'm sounding like a Gaijin employee already and I'm only 5 sentences into this video. Now, I don't really have a format for what I want in this video, I'm just taking whatever is in my head, plugging it into this text-to-speech bot and calling it a day. Let me make it abundantly clear that it is very much okay to have issues with War Thunder. The game certainly does have many problems and not liking it is completely understandable. You're allowed to like the game, you're allowed to have issues with the game, and you're allowed to dislike the game. However, if you need to be told that you're allowed to hold any of those opinions, that's not okay. I just wanted to make this video to get out my thoughts and explain why I feel the way I do. Please don't ask me why I didn't cover one thing or another, this is just what I want to talk about. Please also keep all discussion in the comments civil. I've been working on this video for I don't even know how long at this point, but it's been at least since Update Red Skies came out and I've just been doing bits and pieces of it on and off whenever I have the time, so I hope this turns out well. The first thing I'd like to talk about is my views on the expansion into more modern vehicles. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this. On one hand, much of the World War II area of the game is already very well fleshed out, with a few exceptions of course, and going up does make sense. However, on the other hand, there are many unique and cool World War II, interwar, and early post-war era vehicles that I still really want in-game. I think for me personally the bigger issue comes with just how top-tier focused these updates are. I'm fine with new top-tier vehicles and expansion upwards, but I would like to see a greater mix of high-tier and lower-tier vehicles in each patch. In Direct Hit we finally got the Shackleton, which I've wanted in-game for a very long time. But we're still missing vehicles like the Bolton Paul Defiant, which happens to be one of my personal favorites, the Seversky P35 and the J9, which was the P35 in Swedish service, the B26 Marauder, the A13 Mark III Covenanter, the Elephant, which was promised all the way back in 2013, any of the actual fighter variants of the Mosquito, and the Spitfire Mark VII, just to name a few. We're also missing the B-32 Dominator, but that's more of a personal thing specifically for me because I love that plane. The other thing that comes with more modern vehicles is more modern weaponry, and this is where I have a big issue. Air-to-air missiles I'm fine with, although the possibility of the AIM-9L coming in the near future, possibly as soon as this December, does seriously worry me. Where my problem really lies is precision-guided air-to-ground munitions, specifically AGMs. As far as I can tell, the guided bombs added in Direct Hit are proving to be rather useless compared to AGMs, but that in of itself is a problem. AGMs make CAS a much bigger problem for ground units because they're basically brainless. You don't need a precise hit, you just need to hit somewhere close and whatever you fired it will die, which means they require basically no skill at all. They recently nerfed the Nords, so now they require a direct hit or an incredibly close hit to actually kill, and this is great. I wish they would do that to all AGMs. However, in the end, the only real solution is removing them all, but that's never going to happen. My issue with going more modern in the end isn't as much about what vehicles they add but more the weaponry they get. There's also helicopters, which is a whole other can of worms, but the long and short of it is that all helicopters need to be removed because they're fundamentally game-breaking, and I will fight you to the death on this. Once again, as you can see, there's really no format to this video, this is just my rambling. Next, I'd like to talk about repair costs. Repair costs are a good thing. They de-incentivize botting and poor play by giving a negative incentive. I like that repair costs are in the game because it de-incentivizes poor play by making sure that if you play poorly, you get punished for it, and makes sure that bots that try to just endlessly grind SL eventually will run out due to repair costs and the bot can't function anymore. The same also goes for crew lock. crew lock makes sure that if you just leave the battle because you don't like the map, for example, you get punished because by just leaving the battle early if you don't like the map, and I'm just using not liking the map as an example, you handicap your team, so crew lock makes sure you get punished for it. I do wish there was some system in place to detect whether or not you just left the match or if you got disconnected, because getting crew locked for being disconnected is incredibly annoying. However, I don't understand the level of difficulty of actually implementing that system because I'm not a game developer and I don't fully understand the technical side of it all. The game isn't dying, piss off. The War Thunder community, more specifically the vocal part of that community, is something that really pisses me the fuck off. I absolutely cannot stand the constant bitching and whining about the game's issues, most of which aren't even actual issues, and never acknowledging any of the game's positives, of which there are many. The War Thunder forums are a place I no longer visit except for dev server preliminary patch notes and the monthly pass to developers. The War Thunder subreddit I also no longer visit except to read Zabby99's datamines, and even for that I no longer go to the subreddit. I just have his account page in my bookmarks bar. It's just constant negativity and people saying they hate this game. I will never cease to wonder why people who don't enjoy this game don't just leave and go find something else. I've heard people say that it's Stockholm Syndrome, but the definition of Stockholm Syndrome is being held against your will, and I'm pretty sure no one is being held against their will to play War Thunder. The other thing I wanted to touch on in this section is Gaijine's customer support team. It's too small of a thing to warrant its own section, so I just lumped it into this one. I bring it up because they actually have a very good, very responsive, and overall very helpful customer support team, which is incredibly rare. I remember I had an account issue relating to the Battle Pass once, and don't worry, we'll get to that, and after 3 days and only a handful of messages with customer support, I got the issue fixed, and I'm 99% sure that it only took that long because the customer support agent I was talking to lived on the opposite side of the world from me. I know the Battle Pass technically counts as an event, but because it's such a different system for other events and I think it warrants further discussion, I'm giving it its own section. I actually really like the Battle Pass. I've wanted one in-game for a long time, and I think the way Gaijin implemented War Thunder's Battle Pass was a very good one. I generally like all the vehicles we've seen from it so far, although I do highly disagree with the EBR 1963 not being in the tech tree. I also think the coupon upgrade system is a good one. I understand that it is very frustrating to those who want to sell the vehicles, however it's also a very good one from the standpoint of a player who wants to get the next Battle Pass for free. The one thing that I dislike about the system is that both of the coupon upgrades are not at free levels, meaning you do have to pay to get them so you can get the next season for free, which I highly disagree with. There are two types of events in War Thunder. The challenge events like Operation Winter and Summer Landing, also known as the good kind, and the Build-A-Bear or crafting events like Wargame Strategist and Future Technology, also known as the kind that make you want to stab your eyes and ears out with a fucking salad fork and then jump off a bridge. God, I'm so happy this text-to-speech bot can swear. I see a lot of people on the forums and Reddit get angry about the events and constantly complain about them, and in some respects they are right, but in many others they aren't. I find that generally the Build-A-Bear event criticism usually seems to be more on point than the challenge event criticism, but that may just be me. I'm first going to talk about the challenge events. These events for the most part are good. The challenges are not too hard, and I usually manage to get all 3 stars for air, ground, and naval done in about 5 hours. The prizes are generally pretty good, and whoever at Gaijin designs the decals for these events needs a raise because they're insanely well made and look amazing. In the most recent challenge event, which was Summer Landing, we got the VL Mirski 2, the Type 3 Kar-Chi, the RN Aviaire, the Buccaneer S1, the BMD-4, and the Type 143 Bussid. All of these were good prizes, and this goes for most challenge events. My only major complaints are the fact that you can get duplicate decals and need to use the market to get the ones you missed, the fact that the decorations are not coupons, although that was only an issue in Summer Landing, and the fact that the low-tier vehicle prizes are not coupons. This bothers me not because I sell the vehicles, I don't, because I'm a collector. I do all 12 stars for air, ground, and naval, and I keep all the prizes I get. I disagree with them not being coupons because I believe that new players that weren't around during older events should still have a way of obtaining the old event vehicles. This is why the market is great even if some of the prices are ridiculous, and thus the low-tier vehicles not being coupons is very annoying. Still, these events are generally good. The other main type of event are the Build-A-Bear or crafting events. These are some of the most egregious events in the entire game. They have a ridiculous grind and are maddening to play. The amount of grind is insane, and it wouldn't be that bad if you could actually get all the vehicles. However, Gaijin has placed an artificial limiter on the amount of vehicles you can get, so you can only actually obtain 2 of the 4 vehicles without using the market. This is absolutely infuriating because as a collector, I like to get everything I can, and the fact that Gaijin has artificially limited me to getting only 2 of the vehicles is fucking maddening and is a terrible practice that I want to end. Sadly, it appears Gaijin has found that this formula works because the last 3 Build-A-Bear events have had this artificial limiter, and with another one most likely on its way at the end of September, it seems that Gaijin won't stop this practice. I absolutely hate these events, and they are terrible in almost every way, which is annoying because in theory, I prefer the idea of a crafting system to a challenge system, but the way Gaijin has implemented the crafting system makes the Build-A-Bear events horrible while the challenge events are pretty good. There's also World War mode, but I don't want to cover that. My basic feelings is that after Season 3 of World War mode, I want that event to go die in a hole and never come back. War Thunder has many fake/paper vehicles. Vehicles like both Ho-Re's, all 3 R2Y2s, and the J6K1, just to name a few. I disagree with all of these vehicles being in-game. Paper vehicles like these should never have been added. This is why the removal of vehicles like the King Tiger 105 and Panther 2 were good moves. I think all the remaining paper vehicles in-game should be removed. People who already own them can keep them, but for those who don't, they should be removed because they go against what War Thunder is about. I understand that not every vehicle is historically modeled, but the idea is at least having vehicles that existed, which is why I disagree with paper vehicles. To me, the magic of War Thunder is weird and unique vehicles that people have no idea about being represented and getting their time to shine. Vehicles like the BTD-1, TB3M1732, ITPM-1, AR196A3, RO57 BIS, SO8000 Naval, all the J29s, the T55E1, M6A2E1, HSTVL, the PAC Puma, SU76D, IT1, Matilda Hedgehog, Type 3 Karchi, PTLO2, Toldi 2A, Super AMX30, PBV301, all the STRV103s, and many more. Going into the future, I'd like to see more weird and wacky vehicles and prototypes, be it modern or World War II, assuming they were fully tested. This means vehicles such as the Bolt & Paul Defiant, A13 Mark III Covenanter, Spitfire Mark VII, and M1 Thumper. What I like about War Thunder is that these vehicles can get their time in the sun, and I want to see more of them because War Thunder is such a unique game where they can be fully represented. This, along with some form of system for newer players to get older event vehicles, and all the stuff I mentioned earlier, is what I want to see going forward. In conclusion, I love War Thunder. There is truly no other game like it, and I want to see it continue. Yes, there are issues, and yes, there are things I would like to see changed. But War Thunder is still a fantastic game, and I will continue to play and enjoy it. And no, I don't have Stockholm Syndrome. Alright, bye.